So it's a little breezy today, so I apologize for any wind noise. But this is my 1850s Gothic Revival house that I purchased at an auction. Now this house has a lot of history in the town that it's located in, but it needs a lot of work. And by a lot of work, I mean a lot of work. So we're gonna take a complete tour and we're gonna show you everything from the outside, top to bottom inside, so you can see just how bad this is and see what kind of mess I've gotten myself into. Now, to be fair, I don't have experience doing this. This is all brand new to me. I don't know what I'm doing. I have no budget, and by no budget, I don't mean unlimited, I mean no budget. So it's gonna be a lot of hard work and a long time doing it. But if you're interested in watching, come along with me and we'll see what we got. So this first video is gonna be a long one. It's gonna be boring, warning you now, but somewhere along the way, I'll tell you how you can help. Let's take a look at this house. Okay, so first things first, we look at the outside. You can see this beautifully sculpted, carved front porch area. Now it's all overgrown, but we can see a lot of the detail work in a lot of the structures. A lot of the carvings in the windows and things like that, which is just incredible. So this front porch was added around 1870 onto this house that was built around 1850. Now, it was an infantryman who carved all this. I forget his name, but we'll get back to that a little bit later. And then, as far as I know, the house was owned by Clark Lewis until at least 1875, as far as what I remember records being. It was used as a boarding house, and I believe, according to some of the locals, and by locals I mean my neighbors, my new neighbors, they said this also used to be referred to as the Oxford Annex. Now this house beside me is an apartment building that used to be, as I'm told, the original Oxford Inn. And if you haven't guessed by now, the town this is in is called Oxford. It used to be a bluestone capital, one of the top bluestone producers in the country, I believe, back in its heyday. But now, well, now it's just a quaint little village, and this is the historic end of town. Now, normally I would just come through this front door, which opens and has a tree in it. But no go on the door handle. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna walk around to the back. But before we do that, we're gonna come down, well, let's come down this side. We'll do an outside tour first. So first thing you'll notice, we have a lot of growth, a lot of brush that needs to go away. And then we have the side. Now you can see up here, we have a lot of wood or water damage, stuff like that. Now, an interesting side note, this here goes into a room inside that is its own separate room / apartment area, completely separate from the rest of the house. As you can see, we have a lot of little trees and saplings and stuff. These all need to go away. We have 2/3 of a bay window. I don't know why we stopped at 2. Who knows? This door, which I have not cut the lock off of because I don't need to, this door actually goes into a stairwell that goes upstairs. We'll show you that from the other side when we get there, including the custom tree right through the fence. It's pretty slick, right? Now I do want to point out some little things like this. Now the foundation on the whole seems pretty sturdy, but there are a couple little spots like this where a couple little things have kind of slipped out of place. But on the whole, it is all still pretty straight. Lots of trees, lots of growth, some tree-inspired damaging. And then this part back here was added on at some point. You can tell we've got the metal roof. So this little section back here was added on at some point. I believe that this porch and the upstairs balcony were also added on later, but I'm not 100% sure. Got a little sunroom back here, but we'll go in there in a minute. So full disclosure, I bought this house for $5,000 at a tax foreclosure auction. we're going to walk back here in the shade because it's warm out. So the county auction was a few weeks ago, and I was able to purchase this house for the low, low price of $5,000. Now, that might sound like a bargain, but you haven't seen inside yet. However, one of the reasons I got it so cheap is this corner that I'm looking at back here. So if we turn around, we look at this corner. If you look at that at a glance, especially from a distance, you might think that this whole corner is sinking into the ground. It's certainly not level. But if you look closer, and if you can see inside, you can see the interior boards are still flat. Basically, the outside clapboarding and stuff has just kind of settled and pulled away and broken, so it makes it look worse than it is. But because of that, when I was looking for the house, or looking at the house, looking to purchase it, the open house, they wouldn't let me inside. They said because of the condition of the house, they weren't letting anybody in. And at the auction itself, they also opened with the phrase, "We don't believe the house to be safe." So that scares away a lot of potential buyers. Let's go take a look in this back corner first. It's one of the better places. Now there's a couple weird things. So I have a big hole down here in the ground. Don't know what for, but I have a big hump in the ground over here. So that's kind of interesting. Don't know what it's there for. Don't know what kind of bodies are hidden there. Again, more trees, busted windows. So inside we go. Now this is apartment number 10. With a carpet that sticks on the door. So welcome to apartment 10. There's two ways in. There's the door we just came through, and then there's another door over here. And when I say apartment 10, I mean just that, apartment number 10. This place used to be a boarding house back in its heyday, and because of that, there's many different apartments listed. So I've kind of narrowed down the math on it. So it's either 8 or 9 different apartments. Now, by apartment, it can mean something like this, which is basically treated as a studio. Over here in this door, we have a bathroom, sort of. And then over here in the corner area, not counting the hole in the wall, but this corner area was a kitchenette area. So this would have been like a studio apartment. We've got the two doors. We've got this kind of mudroom in the back that we came through, but then we've got this other door over here and then a closet. So let's turn around and give you a full view of this room. So as you can see, carpet is the very definition of shag. Now, one interesting part is these floors have this layer of something down, and I don't know what it is, but it's under the baseboard, so I can't just rip it up to see what's underneath. This, again, was an added-on part of the house later on, so I don't know what kind of construction we're looking at. We do have the world's funniest looking outlet, though. Check this thing out. If anybody has ever seen an outlet like this before, please tell me, because I've never seen one of these before. My knees are creaking. Now we do have an attic space up here, as you can see. I can't get up in there just yet, but it's basically just all wide open. So this is apartment number 10. We're gonna walk back out of here, close our door as much as possible. Oops, forgot the clasp. There we go. So we're gonna walk out of the sunroom, and we're going to go back towards the main area of the house. Now, I don't really have a set plan as far as a walkthrough goes, but I think we'll go through floor by floor, then we'll go into the downstairs, the cellar, as it were. But before that, actually, let's go to this one room on the outside that you can't get to from anywhere else. Unfortunately, a lot of these windows have been broken, so there are some busted windows. Again, we have to go around the trees and into apartment number 8. So doors open, and here we go. Into the house, apartment number 8. This is it. Bathroom, closet, and this one doesn't even have a kitchen area, honestly. It's just basically a little studio apartment. Now, I actually did just talk with a gentleman who rented this place, this particular room. He said, I want to say about 15 years ago or so, he said he usually spent most of the time at the bar across the street, so he didn't remember much. But this is kind of just a little room, little space. You can see we've got very tall ceilings in here, about 9 feet tall. Now this is all the lath and plaster. So that's how to read your Digitemp thermometer. Cool. So one of the things you can notice in here is a lot of the walls and a lot of the ceilings are starting to fall down. Lath and plaster will do that to a guy. So ironically, this is the only room in the house that actually has stuff in it. And it's just all garbage, but and I don't know where these old doors came from. These things are weird. But yes, this is the only room that actually has anything in it. The rest of this house, not so much. Okay, so this is apartment number 8. And again, if we turn this around, we're gonna pan around the room. So we have our 2/3 of a bay window out here, complete with curtains. We have our walls, our cracking and peeling wallpaper. The ceiling in here actually hasn't fallen down yet, so that's interesting. But this is this room here by default. Now, one thing you'll notice is that unlike a true Victorian style house, the door frames aren't really elaborate. There's not any big corner blocks or anything. They're very tall doors. They're like 8 feet tall, which is crazy to me. But, you know, the woodwork isn't really extravagant. Now, bear in mind, I don't do this stuff for a living. So if you're watching this and you have better ideas as to what some of this stuff is, by all means, let me know. So that's that room there. That's apartment number 8. Again, we're going to skip the upstairs entryway and we're going to come into the back door here. Yeah, this is where it's going to get worse. Now, I don't do this for a living. So you're seeing this unadulterated and as it stands right now. I have not cleaned anything. I have not touched anything. I've been through it, but I have not seen or I've not touched anything yet. So we have this big entryway out here, this big porch. There's this big gated door that actually just goes down to the outside, which actually you can get to from the outside. So I don't know what the point of that is. But now let's turn around, we're gonna walk into the door. I've already opened the door. You can see we've got this old hardwood floor down here. And then we have some walls, some windows, some missing glass, and a ginormous deadbolt. I guess they really wanted to keep people away. Unfortunately, this is a normal sized door, which unfortunately it's a normal sized door, but fortunately for me, it's a normal sized door. So we can replace this door and not worry about the rotting part and just, you know, put a new door there. And as you can see, again, a lot more of the peeling. Now you can see the lath and plaster still. This was a patch that somebody must have attempted to make at some point. Got some old switches, we've got some old wiring. This is a chimney. Chimney. That's one of 2. Now part of the problem with this place is it looks bad. And a lot of that is because of stuff like this, where it's falling down, it looks awful, it looks horrible, and it just makes it look that much worse. So we're gonna come back in here. This room back here is the kitchen. So this room was the kitchen for this half of the house. And when I say this half of the house, I mean this half, because you could not get to the front of the house from back here. This was completely separate, almost like a completely separate apartment with a living room, a kitchen, and behind me, through this hole in the wall, is a bathroom. So this would have been its own separate space, completely separated off from the front of the house. But in here we have kitchen cabinets, kitchen cabinets. We have, again, falling plaster, although the ceiling up here is like it's like chipboard or something. I don't know what it's called, shiplap or whatever. I don't know what it's called, but I believe the original ceiling is up behind that. I think this was just put on at some point and then somebody then drywalled over it. So that's something to worry about. But if we look down here on the floor, you'll see we have more hardwood underneath whatever this stuff is. So we've got some more of that to look forward to. So here is the kitchen in a pan around view. We've got a bunch of old floor vents. I don't know why the grates are off the vents and not in the floor. Kind of a weird little pantry nook thing over here. There was no sink that I could find, or at least I didn't find a drain for a sink. But I do have, oh, right there, sorry. Drain for the sink there, but I didn't see a place for a stove unless it was over here next to this, under this vent. But if it was, I don't know what it was running off of. I don't see anything on the floor for, you know, intake, no gas, no electric lines, no nothing. So I don't know what was there. Okay, so moving on to the bathroom. This is the bathroom for the rear apartment, we'll call it. Doesn't have a number, so I guess we'll call it 9. This is apartment 9. Fairly large bathroom. I believe there used to be like an old cast iron tub or something right here next to this. Explains the drain and the water hoses coming up through the floor right here, right down there. But obviously there's nothing here now. So it might have been one of those, you know, old cast iron tubs or something that was worth more money than the house. So they sold it. So if we turn around and we look, you can kind of get an idea of the bathroom here. We do have a cutout into that room, apartment 10 we were just in, but here we go. Now coming through, you can see we have a lot of paint issues. Now I don't know what kind of paint this is. I don't know if it's lead. I don't know what it is. My guess is not, but it is what it is. Cute little sink here on the side with a vanity that used to go here. And then a little closet in here, which unfortunately is also a see-through. And then we have this front little sitting area. Now this one looks pretty bad, mainly because, again, floor and everything. Now if you look up here, you can see we have these tiles. You can see we've got some 2x4s that were put on here to support these tiles, which are now falling down. On the plus side, means I've got some free 2x4s. Now on the floor, this is one of the trouble spots, if you will. It does have a little bit of a bow right here on the floor. So like there's a high spot and then kind of dips down a little bit. Now, again, that's well, probably to be expected in this place. I don't know what's underneath. I don't know too much about under here, but it does look like this, just this corner is kind of sunk in a little bit. So we're gonna deal with that somehow. Now there is another chimney in here somewhere, but I don't know where it is off the top of my head. We're gonna go past back through here and we're right back to the beginning of the house. Yeah, I almost think, no, I almost thought that was the other chimney, but doesn't look like it. It might be. This might be, nope, that's just ductwork, so it's not a chimney. Okay, now as you'll notice, this is just a complete unedited just walkthrough of this house. I want to give full disclosure of how bad this really is. So if you see an auction house for $5,000 and you think, I can fix that up real quick. Yeah, this is what real quick gets you. So again, we're in the kitchen area, the living room for downstairs. Now in here, we don't have a way to the front of the house, at least now, except for that hole that somebody went all Kool-Aid Man on. We do have this hole in the wall here, and this goes to that stairwell that goes up to the upstairs, and then that's that door from out front. But in order to get to the front, we have to come through this wall. Now, you can tell in here that it's pretty short. I'm pretty sure this is like a newer construction wall. So I think this used to be all open somehow, and somebody just walled in a gap. Now, I don't know about back here, but I think from here over that way, and maybe even past this wall here, this all went over. This is the hardest part. So we'll get into that in a minute. Let's get through here to the inside. And if you thought that part was bad, welcome to the front of the house. This is where it gets bad. Not hopeless, but bad. So we have another single bay window. Weird. Behind me, we have a closet with a singly hinged door. I have a top of a toilet for no reason whatsoever. But I'm going to come over here to the window, and I'm going to turn around, and I'm going to show you what it looks like. And there you have it. This is why things look horrible in here. Now, to be fair, it's all the ceiling that has fallen down onto the floor. That's why it looks so bad. But it is a lot of work. So if we look up through, you can see the lath and plaster is all just rotting away. This all has to come down. And yeah, through there is the rest of the house. And if you think it gets better, we're doing a first person view as I go through the rest of this. So get ready. I'm gonna turn my flash on. Here we go. In here, we have, I don't know why we just have empty wall cavity, but we do. We have the remnants of a bathroom. And if you don't think this is old scary movie-esque, then I don't know what movies you've ever seen. I have a stand-up shower here. A little cubby over there. This shows you a bunch of different layers of wallpaper. We've got this stuff here. Oh, that's all coming down. And then we have a lot of these things. Now there's ductwork in here or a chimney or something in here. Nope, just ductwork. But this was all covering this duct, which was really weird. Okay, more of the ceiling has fallen down. Surprisingly, an intact globe. As you can see, this says number 6. So if we turn back around at this door, you'll see that this was apartment number 6. Through this hallway, you had your bathroom, you had your bedroom slash living room slash whatever, and a closet. It's apartment number 6. Let's come up here to apartment number 7. 7 is not bad. 7 is right here. Now, the reason it's apartment number 7 is here's your front door. This is the door we couldn't get into. So you come in this door, and then you have a stairwell that goes up. Have apartment 6 through that door, the hallway we were just in, and apartment number 7 is over here. This one doesn't look bad at all. We've got painted on the walls. If we close the door, which I can't do, it's pretty well rusted shut apparently. I guess our ductwork over here started to fall apart with a big spider on it. Freeloader. But this is apartment number 7, and this one's actually all mostly intact with the exception of the bathroom. That's a really weird thing. But you can tell we've got, all the carpets in there. I mean, the floorboards are a little warped. I can feel them. Solid. I'm not going through. So if we go back to that whole it's not safe thing, I haven't fallen through yet. Beautiful front windows, full size, 7 feet tall front windows. How cool would it be to be in here and be able to just look outside and if you want to see something really cool, check this out. If you can see it. I'm trying to, there you go, right there. See the waves through the glass? How cool is that? I don't know what causes it. It's not cracked. I don't think. Maybe it was cracked. Really weird. We have a closet over here, and then we have a bathroom here. No, toilet, sink, bathroom. But check out the tub. Okay, coming in, I want to take a bath. There's your tub through what amounts to basically a 16-inch wide gap that you have to walk through in order to get to your tub. So that's the tub. So we are going to go upstairs now. If you were going to have lunch, you might want to wait unless you've got a strong stomach. Not because there's dead things. It's just ugly. So here we go. First person view. We're going to turn the camera around and we're just going to go straight upstairs. Okay. Now this is your front foyer, your front little entryway with a big door that we couldn't get into. It does open from the inside. A little stuck, but the mechanism that turns the outside does not work. So I either need to buy a new lock or take this one apart and figure it out. Some old light switches, fire extinguisher, again, boarding house. A little bit of a rise here on the floor. It's just warped boards. But I'm going to turn around. Ready? Dear God, what happened? So here is our main staircase that goes up. It does have a little bit of a decorative banister to it. But I'm going to turn the camera up, and you can probably see where this mess has come from. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. But first, we have to walk up through what is the remainder of the carpeting that was on these stairs, and through what is now lath and plastered dust and so forth. So we still have a lot of the wood on the side of the wall. This is a beam that is falling apart. All right, we have made it upstairs. As you can tell, there's a hole behind me in the roof, at least one that I know of. We are going to take the drone out after we go through the house, and we're going to go take a look and see what kind of damage we're looking at. Obviously, we have a lot of damage. I don't want to touch that, have it fall on my head. Okay, onward to the front. This room here, well, as best I can tell, was a kitchen-ish. And then we have another room. So I want to backtrack to the stairwell. We just come up in the stairs. So from here, we have a door, no apartment number on it, but we have this entryway here. And I believe as we walk through, we have a big room over here, and we have this little kitchen area here. So I think this kitchen area was kind of like a community kitchenette. This room here would have been apartment number 5, I think. So again, we have a lot of room. Now this one, I did peek a little bit earlier on, but this is a fairly large space. Again, smaller windows because we're on the second story, but you get to look out over top of everything, which is just really cool, especially when you're looking out at like that architecture. Now these windows are pretty dirty, but I mean, come on, you've got all that scroll work or that carving out there. On the back side of this, you just have a closet. You've got this kind of lattice wall, and then this is just a wall behind of which is a stand-up shower and a bathroom. So this is kind of like another apartment, and again, kitchen area. Now I say that's a community kitchen area because on the other direction, we have what empties out into, we'll call this a congregational room. A room that people can sit in, kind of like a mini living room, because we have more rooms. Apartments number 1, 2, 3, 4. But you can see a lot of water damage still up in this corner because this again is where the roof had bad. Somebody thinks maybe there might have been a fire in here. I think it's water and rot, but maybe a fire. So let's come back here into apartment number 1. Again, a lot of this, right? A lot of water. So this one you can see we have a lot of beams up here that are actually starting to fall apart. So that's something we're gonna have to adjust. Look on the floor here. Have some wood. I'm with some hefty planks. Now I don't know what this pipe is for, some sort of vent thing. We come over here. This is just a closet, not another bathroom. Fairly big closet though. So we have that closet there. And again, another room. We get to look out at the neighbor house basically. So this would have been like a bedroom. Coming back out, we make a left turn into apartment number 2. Very similar story. Just a single thing will not fall into the vents. This one's a very small room. It's only about 8 by 10. And again, another closet. Fairly big closet. Tall at least. So this one's a pretty small room. Coming back out. Okay, over to 3. 3 is a big room. 3 is for royalty, I think. 3 was a fairly large room, but 3 comes with a bonus. We have a little closet, cute, but we have a bed frame in the way. We have a door that opens to that back balcony. And yes, it will support my weight. I've been out there already. We're just, get out of here. We're going to take the world's oldest vacuum cleaner, Eureka, and put it in the way of the door. So there's a little bit of a sponge on that one corner right there on the floor. Not a big deal. And I guess I get a free couch. So that's the big room there. Now here is the stairwell that goes down to the front. So as you can see, it just walks down. Now, I love that we have this little path we can walk over in front of the... What are you going to do? Put a rocking chair over there in front of the window? I really don't know. But we do have the ductwork for the heating. I love the way that they incorporated the ductwork into the railing. Also, I love how the base of this staircase acts like it's going to curve and then doesn't. That, I don't know. Now, I do think that maybe the bottom of those stairs actually used to go around into where the kitchen or the main room downstairs was. So maybe that's where that came from. Who knows? Okay, over to number 1, 2. Guess this was 3. No, that's 3. This is 4, I think. Again, just a fairly basic room. Nothing outrageous. Again, the same big planking on the floors. It's kind of crazy. The floors on this are these big, wide, like 12-inch wide planks. They're massive. But downstairs we have hardwood floor. But again, just a single room. Nothing crazy there. And then behind us we have basically the community bathroom. Let's turn you back around. So here we are. We have the bathroom. Now the toilet is sideways. Bathtub, which had no shower. It doesn't look like... I don't know if any of them had actual showers back then. Sink, busted mirror, and I present to you the only access to the attic. Unfortunately, I don't have any way to get up there right now. I have to go get my ladder so we can get up in there, but we are going to do that. So let's go do that now. We're going to go get our ladder, we're going to bring it up, and we're going to go take a peek up around the attic. We might not step into the attic, but we're going to take a peek around because I want to see what kind of damage there is up there from this. So I just wanted to show real quick the scrolling on here. I don't know how this was done. It's wood, but I don't know if this was like cut out and glued and then papered over or what the deal is, but I just thought it was really cool. And that ceiling goes forever up there. Okay, so that's the upstairs. So we've got most of the tour done with the exception of the downstairs and the attic. So we're gonna go get our ladder and go check the attic out. Then we're going to go ahead and get our basement groove on, our cellar groove. We'll go peek around down there, show you what I found so far down there, and then we're going to sit down and we're going to talk over what's next, what the plan is, and how you can help if you want. Okay, so we've gotten our ladder, and it's time to go peek into the attic. Only thing I'm hoping for is no big angry wasp nests. Oh, a neat little bottle over here though. We've made it to the attic. We are standing in the attic. I'm trying not to step anywhere that's gonna do bad things to me. I wanted to be able to get a good look at things, and so far I can. So let's take a peek around me. Back there we've got the back side. This is away from the road. We have our 2 chimneys, one there, one over here. You can barely see it. Let me turn the light around and you can see it a little bit more. Okay, so there you can see both chimneys there. You can see some sunlight coming in there. And then along some of the grooves, these beams are, like we got 4x4 truss beams here, which are massive. But the planking is crazy on this. And the planking has got, you know, these big gaps. Those gaps are 1.5 inches wide. And then there's just tar paper on top of it. And then shingles. Like no real sheathing. We've got what look to be some window panes down there, probably for that. And then here's the big one. A very big hole in the roof. Now, if we can get over there, we do have a chimney here that stops. So I think this might have been an original chimney, except that it came through that closet of the bathroom. So I don't know where this would have gone. That looks to be fairly hollow. So did they just make this thing and then just add a chimney, like for decoration? We don't know. Okay, so we're walking through spider webs because that's what I love doing with my free time. Okay, so now we can get over here, we can get a little better look at what's going on. I did take some drone footage from outside so we can get a better look. It's a little bit bigger than I expected, honestly. So if I'm honest, it's a little bit more in depth than I was expecting this hole to be. So there's a couple of takeaways from this from my side. But we'll get into that a little bit later. I don't know why I have a screen door up here for. Who just decides to randomly throw a screen door up here? And how did you get it up here? I don't know. So anyway, you can look over here. You can see that this beam here has been completely broken off away from the front. These other ones are hurting. You can see right there, it's that one over there is cracked. That one over there is kind of busted down in. So we've got a very solid foundation up here that I'm standing on. Like this stuff is thick, but we do have a lot of busted 4x4s. I don't know if this was an attempt to try to fix it and save it or what the deal was at any point, but I do think this needs to be figured out. It's interesting though, like look at the front end, how these things were all angled in and made that front porch add-on. The curious part is if you look, these are all just straight angles and very, very minimal support. A couple of uprights here. If you look behind me, there's like one there. Like there's really not much holding this up. And that might be what led to this demise. There was no extra structurally support on here. Maybe they didn't figure that these 4x4s would need it. Who knows? Let's walk a little towards the front. You can see remnants of the original wiring. Obviously that'll be changed, and we're going to continue walking about as far as I dare. Again, we have stuff over here. This is the outside porch, so I'm not going to step on that. Not sure what the purpose of some of that stuff was, but it's really cool to see some of this old stuff in here. Okay, so that's the attic. We have now seen everything but the basement. So I need to go back through our cobwebs and down into the basement. Now that I have a better idea of what the roof looks like and how bad it is. Now, if I'm honest, other than the price of lumber and materials, this isn't really hard to fix, if you think about it. Yeah, these 4x4s are bad, but I mean, if we shore up, we put up a central wall right down the middle of this, then we can shore up the peak, cut this out, the damaged section. Well, it'd be most of it at this point, but we can cut it out and literally just frame in new trusses, and that's it. Anyway, I'm gonna put the phone down so I can get out of here, and I'll be back with you in a moment once we get back down into the living space. Okay. So we didn't bring a flashlight, but we've seen the upstairs, the attic, the main floor. We need to go downstairs into the cellar, which we do by coming through here. We can go in from the upstairs as well, from the inside of the house. It's just more fun this way. Okay, it's nice and cool under here. You have to pardon me, I am relying only on my phone light to get me through. So we have plenty of headroom, luckily. So let's start over here in the corner. The nice part is, as you can see, the walls are, for the most part, straight and level. A couple little spots like that where stuffing is, you know, broken a couple things loose or whatever. But overall, the walls are pretty solid. Now, that is a carved out section that goes back to the added on room. But let's continue forward. There's really not much down here to talk about, honestly. We've still got big old beams under here. There's our flooring. Now some of this stuff has had supports added or blocking added. The only part I'm really concerned about most than anything is if we come back here past the furnaces. And again, walls are straight. You know, there's some sections that go out into little spots, but for overall, they're fairly straight. Now this wall was probably added later. I'm stepping on things. A little musty, but not rotted. But this beam above my head is wet, and I think is a little bit soft. But it is a main beam that goes from side to side. The thing is huge. It is got to be a good 10 or 11 inches wide. Now you can see we've got this beam here is holding it there, and there's another beam there holding that side, but it's in the middle that's kind of getting a little soft. So I want to shore that up as much as I can in the meantime, and figure out where all this water is coming from. So we're going to shore some of that up and then figure out the rest of it. Let's go up to the front. This room here is just a little catch-all. Not scary at all. Although if you want scary, then we can nope, not scary at all. Nope, nope, nope. We are basically at the front, which is weird. You're actually at the front of the front. It really doesn't seem like it took that long to get here. If the Blair Witch is in here, please leave. Okay, thanks, bye. Okay, and here we have our electric central. Let's go around this corner. This is an old fuel oil tank. I'm 100% sure it hasn't been used forever. But anyway, so we have 2 meter boxes, or maybe more, that all went to different places. Old school fuse things. So obviously this all needs to get completely redone. This line here, this big one, is our service line coming in. So yeah, it looks like that came in and then fed through each box. So yeah, that'll need to get fixed. First and foremost, the meters need to go outside. But anyway, so there's the electric panel. Obviously in need of work. And we need lights down here is what we need. Well, at least it's, yep, time to go. There's all sorts of weapons of dismemberment down here. So if you look over here, we've got the furnaces. I don't know enough about them to know what they are. We're going to move this cover out of the way. I don't know if it gives a model or anything on any of this. That's definitely not. So again, I don't know anything about this stuff to know what kind of condition this is in or anything like that. But there's one there, and there's another one here next to me. And I think they did this, one for upstairs, one for down. No model number or anything. I don't know how that comes off, so we're not going to bother. And then this is some old thing. Maybe that was the old fuel oil furnace that used to feed, who knows. There we go. For better or worse, for as long as it took, that is a complete walkthrough of the Clark Lewis house in Oxford, New York. My new project. Okay, let's get out of here, get out of this stuff. All right, let's go sit on the front porch, talk a little bit. All right, well, the question now is, what do we do next? Well, that's kind of a fun story. I don't know is the short answer. The long answer is we need to take care of the roof. We need to get that patched somehow, either with a tarp over it or something. The lady next door did tell me that there's a tarp over on the ground that used to be on part of the roof that is now on the ground. But there are a couple spots up there that need to have something covering it. I want to shore up downstairs underneath where that big beam is in the cellar, just so I can, give peace of mind for anybody that wants to walk through it. As you saw, I was able to walk through and we don't have any issues where the floor was going to give out. We just have some unevenness under the floors, so we'll get that figured out later. We want to clean up all the brush around the house. Now that's going to be a lot of time and a lot of energy to do so. I don't know what I'm going to do with the scrap, with all the wood. One of the things I may end up doing is just emptying my little 4x8 trailer and just taking loads and back and forth, maybe burn the logs somewhere. I don't know. But there are a lot of trees and branches that need to come down. There's a lot of smaller ones and larger ones that are right up against the foundation, and I don't want the roots of those growing into the cellar. So those are kind of like the three top to bottom, right? So I saw somebody reference this as a sandwich method before. Fix the roof, fix the cellar, do everything in the middle afterwards. Sort of the same idea. Now, part of the reason I want to clean up the brush, aside from making sure the foundation stays safe, is also for appearance. Not only will it make the house look a ton better, even just getting that stupid bush out in front of the porch, it'll also reassure people that I'm not here to destroy the house. I want to save it, I want to preserve it. That's why I bought it. And by showing people that somebody is actively trying to do something with it, it just gives peace of mind, especially to the neighbors. Beautiful houses next door that unfortunately are kind of overshadowed by the not so beautifulness of this one in its current state. So that is kind of where we're going with it. Now down the road, what do we do? Well, my plan is to, and the purists will hate me, completely gut the inside of this house from top to bottom. Now, I have a reason for it, and I guess we'll explain it. This house was built in 1850, renovated a little bit in the 70s, and then I don't know when the rest of this happened. I don't know when this back section was added on. I don't know if all the rooms that were built as boarding rooms were built originally or just converted, or if they were built later. I don't know what walls were added and not added. I don't know what's original. That's the problem. So the outside of the house, I don't want to change. I love the outside of the house. I love the exterior. I love the look of it. So I'm pretty sure I'm good on the historical aspect, being in the historic district of town, and as far as the historical society goes, I'm pretty sure I'm good with that because I'm not changing the curb appeal of the house, so to speak. The inside is all basically just square rooms, so it's not like it's a grand old Victorian mansion with beautiful arches and decorative pieces. It's pretty basic, which means that between that and the fact that this thing has been modified over the years, who knows how many times and in which way, I kind of give myself a blank slate to redo the inside. So by gutting the interior, it does a few things. It lets me see a much bigger picture, but also may give me more of an insight as to what the original floor plan would have been. If I see walls that are newer construction, then obviously those are either replacing existing walls or more likely have been added on later. For example, the front to back section of the downstairs between that stairway that goes upstairs and that one main entry room, well, there used to be a way through there. Those walls are drywall. I don't believe anybody would have torn off the lath and plaster in only that section just to put up a drywall divider. So there's a lot of things like that that I want to see, but I can't see what the walls were made of until I start tearing into them. And there's a lot of stuff that's going to need to be redone anyway. For example, the electric is all old 2-wire and needs to be changed out. If you remember the cellar picture, it really needs to be changed out, but it definitely needs to be updated. So I'm just going to run all new top to bottom. The plumbing is going to need to be completely updated. Instead of trying to reuse what's there, it's just going to be easier to just grab some PEX or something and just run all new. So what we're going to end up with in the end, my goal, is to have the beautiful front end and fascia and presence of the entire house with a more contemporary modern interior with up-to-date building materials. Yes, that means drywall. I'm not going to re-lath and plaster the walls. No, thank you. Demo will be bad enough. But I'll have everything all new on the inside. It doesn't have to be ultra modern, but it doesn't have to be period correct either, because like I said, it's been changed so much, there's really hard to tell what period correctness is anymore when it comes to this house. So those are the plans for now. Now, the last thing I want to say before we wrap this up with some final thoughts is I did mention earlier that there would be a way for you to help me with this project. And there is. I will have some donation links or some wish list links down below in this video for anyone that wishes to do so. Now, I want to be very clear up front. I am not begging for donations. I am not turning this into a GoFundMe where I'm expecting everybody else to foot the bill for me to save this house. I want to save this house. I purchased this house with that intent. That said, I don't do this for a living. I'm not one of these flippers that can drop $1 million at the blink of an eye, knowing full well I'm going to get it back. This was available at the right time at a price I could afford. From there, I have no idea what I'm doing. So I do have a PayPal set up specifically for this. And then I also have some wish lists that I've been just mostly tools and things like that. I mean, you can't very well buy, steel I-beams from Amazon. They don't ship that stuff. But for anyone that is interested, those links will be below. That money will come directly towards the project, either in the terms of materials, tools, or in the event that I need to hire somebody out, like a contractor to do tree work, things like that, it'll go towards that as well. But it's only for this house. So that's the only project I've got going on right now that's worthy of anyone's help. So again, I'm not begging you for it. I don't expect anybody to donate. It's not like I've done this with the purpose of that expectation. But if you are interested in it, if you like seeing how it's done, if you want to see just an average guy struggle through trying to figure out how to fix a 3,400 square foot, 172-year-old, oh my God, this is a lot of work house, well, I humbly thank you in advance. It's going to be a long process, and yeah. Anyway, now I know this has been a long video, but I wanted to really encompass how much work this house is really going to be. If you're thinking about buying a house at auction and you figure, oh, it's a fixer-upper, I got this, this is what you could end up in. So keep that in mind. It's not always roses. Sometimes it's daisies.